Well, greetings and hellos. I'm going to talk a little bit about mostly why I don't watch any YouTube content that's Linux related, but also why I don't really engage that much with the community. And this is from someone that's been in the Linux community for 24, 5, 6 years or something like that. But I never really engaged with it. I've been kind of looking at it kind of a little bit like, you know, if you see someone go up on a ladder and they fall down and hit their balls, you're like, ooh, that's funny, what's happening there? I'm kind of been looking from the outside in and seeing what's going on, what's happening and stuff like that, pointing fingers, laughing a little bit, getting help by not be part of it, but if people have problems I have problems with, I see what, you know, the community have done to fix those problems and whatnot. And the same goes for YouTube. I talk to, well, of course, people in here, and when I live stream, we do talk about Linux YouTubers, and I used to watch a lot of Linux YouTubers, like in the early days of YouTube. The last 7 years, thereabouts, I really have not watched that many Linux YouTubers. And it's kind of the same reason why I have only been engaged with the community when I want to see if I can get some help. You know, like, okay, I have a problem, I need something to get fixed. Have other people fixed it? You know, have other people occurred the same problem? Have other people dealt with this thing? And then see what, you know, the rest of the community have done, or things of that nature. And for the most part, I don't even use specific Linux communities. I actually go to Reddit or Stack Overflow, or what the fuck it's called, and places like that, where you also get Windows people and Mac people and stuff like that chiming in. And there's a reason for that. And it's actually like, I will talk more about the YouTube space. Because you guys on YouTube, I'm on YouTube, you're watching YouTube. You will probably also be watching this on YouTube. So I will talk more about why I don't really watch that many Linux YouTubers nowadays. Actually, to this day, I am subscribed to a few of them. And actually, the ones I've subscribed to have not uploaded in a long while, though. Most of them. It's been a little bit dead for them for some reason or another last month or so. It's better I take you guys back. So when I started watching Linux YouTubers, like when I think YouTube came around in 2004, and like within 1 or 2 or 3 years, there were already Linux YouTubers. Like, it didn't take long before the Linux community started to make videos on YouTube about Linux. And this is how most of the content was back then. It was how to do this, how to fix that, how to install this, how to optimize this, how to get this to work on the Linux, and you know, how-to videos, help videos, review videos, and all of these kind of things. Distribution reviews was already massively big back then. Like, everyone loved a distribution review video. And then you had, you know, your generic news. You know, this is what's going on, this is what they're working on, or what we can do to get this to work on the Linux. You know, like, what can we do to get more companies to support Linux, and what can we do to get more companies to embrace Linux and open source and stuff like that. And that was basically what most of Linux videos was about back then for a long while. Then it started to become more hate videos. Windows versus this, Windows versus that. This is why Microsoft is evil, this is why Apple is evil, this is why Windows is the worst operating system and stuff like that. We still had that to some extent in the beginning, but it was not like the majority of the content. It was like, you know, videos scattered out there once in a while, you know, like once a month you'll probably from your favorite content creator, 2 times a month or 3 times a month, you'll get a video like why I don't use Windows. And they were not really hating on Windows. You know, it was not like they were bashing Windows for like 10 minutes or something like that. It was just like, yeah, well, I prefer Linux, I prefer the openness of it. I feel Windows is a little bit restrictive. I don't like the road they're going down with less privacy and more telemetry and less customizability. And then that was kind of it. And then they showed you and they talked about why Linux was great. Or they were benchmarking Linux versus Windows. Like, okay, I'm doing this task here. This is how it works with Ubuntu, Arch, whatever distribution they were using, versus how it works under Windows Vista or 7 or 8 or whatever the fuck was around back then, XP and stuff like that. That was to the extent that they were dishing Windows or Mac OS. You know, that was it. But around 2000, I would say 12 or thereabout, it started to turn around. It became more and more dishing Windows proprietary software, telling everyone what they should do, what they should think. You know, oh my god, you're using this distribution, this is wrong, and Arch is the best, and Ubuntu is the devil, and proprietary software is bad, and you are a worse person for using it, and why are you not thinking like us? And it became a preaching stable. You know, it became a preaching place. They started to do more and more preaching about why this is bad, this is good, and why you should do what we are doing, and we need to take over the world with Linux, and free and open source, and the Free Software Foundation is the best thing that's ever been existing, and stuff like that. That was what it was slowly turned into. And if you go and look today, if you look at the most popular Linux content creators, that's what they mostly talk about. Some of them have a little bit of a I would say, a acceptable mixture between yelling and screaming and bitching and moaning about licenses and politics and philosophy, stuff like that, and then actually fucking help videos. But most have majority of bitching, moaning, complaining, and telling people how to think, and, you know, this is bad, and this is the devil, and blah, 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 and racking on Windows, racking on Mac OS, and racking on this and that. And it's just so fucking tiresome to listening to. It really is. But that's what most of the popular Linux YouTubers are doing. If you watch their content, you don't have to watch it, just look at their titles. In the beginning, you're like, yeah, tell them how it is, man. Fuck Microsoft, fuck Windows, yeah, go at it, bro. But after like a year, 2 years, you start to get fucking tired of hearing it. Because the thing that the Linux YouTubers are complaining about with Windows and proprietary software and all that shit is the same fucking thing they bitched about in Windows 2000, in the year 2000. The thing they are bitching and moaning about today is the same things they bitch and moan about in 2005 and 2010 and 2015. They are still bitching about the same fucking shit. That gets tiresome really fast, especially if you've been around for that long. So I start to just like fall out in love with the Linux YouTubers or interest in the Linux YouTubers, because if I do like it to some extent, you know, the Windows versus Linux thing. I do like listen to why they think Linux is better and stuff like that, but mostly, I actually just like them to show me cool shit. I want to see cool shit being done with Linux. You know, I want to see them be excited about Linux. I don't want them to see being excited about Microsoft losing market share, or Apple losing market share, or Windows having a security bug and stuff like that, because it's not helping anyone. The reality of it is that bitching and moaning about Windows, Mac OS, Apple, Microsoft, proprietary software is not going to make Linux better. It's not. We can bitch and moan about it all day long till we fucking get gray hair around our balls. We can be angry all day long. Nothing is going to happen, because we can't control Windows, we can't control Mac OS, we can't control Microsoft, we can't control Apple, but we can control Linux. That's the power we have. We can influence Linux and Linux distributions. So why are we spending so much time and effort and energy hating on everything, you know, hating on that and hating on this, and these are bad people, and you should not be using this, and this can kiss my ass, and this can lick my balls, and why are we spending so much time on that? Instead of just spending time on being like, you know what, let them do whatever the fuck they want over there. One day, their users will see that this is fucking bullshit, and they will hopefully come to Linux. That's the best scenario we can hope for, because no matter how much DistroTube is yelling and screaming at proprietary software and Windows and wants to be on the right side of history, it's not going to help anyone. It's not going to fucking get anyone to use Linux. They'll just look at him like a fucking Karen. Or like one of those feminazis, you know, that yell and scream about mans are bad and okay if they just go over the fucking sidewalk. That's how it looks like. People like that is looked at from the outside in. It's not going to help us at all. Because they're looking at someone yelling and screaming and confronting things that they are using, judging them for doing, you know, using an operating system that they probably don't even fucking know what is yet. And they just bought a fucking computer and they just came with it. It's like, I have no fucking idea what's going on here. And then they're being judged right away. And that is one of the main problems I have with those kind of YouTubers, is that they're judging quite a lot. They're really judgmental. And it's not going to help Linux in any way, shape, or form. And here's the thing, it's not even going to enlighten or inform, you know, Windows users, because they don't want to listen to that. It's a sad thing that Linux is kind of, or not Linux, but the Linux YouTube space has slowly been taken over by angry people that are highly political, ethical, and philosophical motivated. Where most people just look at Linux as a fucking screwdriver or hammer. It's a tool for them. It's another way. It's another vacuum cleaner. That's what it is for them. And I know by saying that I will anger a lot of the fucking Frost people and stuff, because they think that Linux is this like political philosophy that will save the whole fucking universe. It's not. You're not political in any way, shape, or form by using any operating system. You can make it into be that if you want it to, but by default you're not. That's something you put on it yourself. It's not something Linux put onto you. You decide to put that onto Linux. And most people don't put that onto Linux. Most people use Linux because they buy into the philosophy of what Linux stands for. The openness of the code, the community sharing part of the code, the freeness, as in you can, or I call it control. You know, you have control over the software and stuff like that. That's what people buy into. That's the philosophies they buy into. And here's the thing: it's a philosophy. It's a philosophy like you have different way of dealing with grief. You have different way of approaching stardom. You know, if you get famous, you have different ways of approaching gardening. You have different way of approaching building a fucking shit or something like that. That's all those things are. It's philosophies and viewpoints and opinions about to do something. In this case, running, maintaining, and developing software. That's basically what they buy into. It's a philosophy of building, maintaining, and sustaining a piece of software. Everything else is something we have put onto it. With the Stallman, you, me, if we put any other aspect onto Linux, that's us that do that. And you are free to do so. You can do it if you want. Not what I'm saying here. If you want to use Linux as a political tool, you can do it. But just understand that 99% of users don't see it that way. And even 99% of Linux don't see it that way. You get tired of it. Because that's not Linux. Like, I used Linux before most of those fucking people knew what Linux was. Okay? And then they are trying to tell me and other people like me, oh, Linux is about politics. No, it's fucking not. We used Linux before you knew how to fucking stand up and pee. Okay? Like, we were in the trenches trying to get things to fucking work under Linux before you figured out how to fucking masturbate. And you're going to tell us what Linux is. Like, it really drives me up the wall. Like, most of us started to use Linux because it was a fun operating system. It was technical, fun to use. Had a lot of problem in the 90s. Like, it could barely fucking run sometimes. But now those fucking political sellers, the ethics people and political leaning people and the mall police have taken over Linux. It drives me up the fucking wall. I will end with this. If you think politics and ethics and morals is the most important thing about Linux, you're not a Linux user. You're not a tech guy or girl. You're a politician. Okay? Because you're talking politics. That's what politicians do. You should, if that's your main goal, you should go into the political field. Honestly, that's what you should be doing. Because you're a politician. You just use this space as an excuse to air your political views, your ethics views, your moral views. But you are mostly a politician. So why not become a politician? I know it's hard, I know it's scary, I know you'll get a lot of flack for it, but that's what you are. Then become a politician. And leave Linux users to do what they've done all the time. Enjoy Linux. Leave Windows users to do what they've done all the time. Enjoy Windows. See you all later. Bye bye.